shy.
The traditional styling of a princess that strikes a chord within the souls of small female children across the globe is further defined by Garofalo, as she concluded that young girls placed importance on heterosexual relationships and viewed beauty and politeness as essential princess characteristics. And it is these qualities that traditional Disney films play into. However, Hall warns that hegemony, the process of indoctrination of the subordinated class into behaviours and ideological beliefs that benefit the ruling class, is not a given and permanent state of affairs, but has to be actively won and secured. Therefore, to maintain its dominance, representation engages in counter-hegemony. Bluchmert and Balkan defined counter-hegemony as involving the purposeful change in certain cultural representations in an effort to shed light on new conceptions of what it means to be normal. Counter-hegemony, then, is the subtle adjustment of the represented norm. 2012's Brave engages in counter-hegemonic representation by adopting traditionally masculine traits in protagonist Princess Merida. While previous princesses have received their happy ending by finding a prince who can offer her security, Merida's happiness comes in the form of gaining autonomy over her own life, rejecting both marriage and femininity. Merida's embodiment of athleticism, bravery, and adventurousness are considered traditionally masculine qualities, and her movement into the role traditionally held by men is most evident as she fights for her own hand against her male suitors, literally stepping into a man's role.
Firstborn descendant of Clan Dunbroch, and I'll be shooting for my own hand.
Merida, therefore, deserves respect because of her perceived masculinity. While her subversion of the traditional princess narrative is counter-hegemonic, the reverential treatment of masculine qualities is a questionable alternative. While counter-hegemony is often used to better reflect the social beliefs of the majority, it is also sometimes manipulated for critical appeasement, as a way of detracting from the other harms not yet addressed when utilised by dominant groups. The film fails to challenge the hegemonic representation of European countries as white. The National Library of Scotland acknowledges that the role played by Scots in the slave trade and in its abolition has only recently been recognised. Additionally, it had been fashionable for wealthy families to have a young black boy or girl attending on them. Therefore, it would be highly likely that a princess like Merida would have a black attendant. Instead, the film perpetuates the idea that black people do not exist in Europe, one which has been naturalised in the common consciousness through the constant erasure in film. Disney recognises that hegemony fails when dominant ideology is weaker than social resistance. And so, in response to the growing critical awareness of female agency, they created a princess who subverts previous gendered expectations. Williams acknowledges that hegemony's effectiveness depends on subordinated peoples accepting the dominant ideology as normal reality or common sense. And its effectiveness in whitewashing Europe points our attention to the gaps in conscious calls for social justice. Both the systemic whitewashing of Europe and patriarchal power structures remain unchallenged, and without the challenge by audiences of the status quo, this erasure of black history and privileging of masculinity will continue.